The children that they chose to restrain were all children who were nonverbal. So they couldn't explain what was happening to them. My name is Annabelle Garcia. I'm from Alamo, Texas. My daughter is Isabel Garcia. She attended Rivas Elementary last school year, which was 2021, 2022. She, at the time, was 6 years old when she was introduced to her new teacher in her PPCD classroom at Rivas. She was a little apprehensive. It took her some getting used to, but there was still in the beginnings, now looking back, some behavior that we had noticed. She'd come home from school. She was there all day, and she goes straight to the bedroom with her tablet to completely decompress or even disassociate. I mean, she would just zone out. Everybody knew that first hour, maybe even two after coming home from school, she needed some time. Then it started going into biting the collar of her shirts. She had to wear polos as part of her uniform, and there was 2 or 3 buttons. Buttons were always gone. I was always having to repurchase shirts because the buttons were always missing. She also would, I'm going to say self-harm, but it wasn't drastic. It was more throw tantrums and, throw herself on the floor or kind of bang her head a little bit. The tantrums were more frequent. The meltdowns were more frequent than they are now. And looking back now, wow, that had to do a lot with the anxiety, how anxious she felt being there. Of course, we had no clue what was going on. But all of that, just little things here and there that we started to notice, but never could really put everything together because of her diagnosis and because she was very limited in her speech. It was hard for us to ask her, how was your day? And what did you do today? And it was very different. It was very difficult. We were notified by the principal, the phone call, February of 2022, that there had been an incident in the classroom. The way she explained it, though, held a lot of things back. We were made to believe when she called me that this was a one-time occurrence. My daughter Isabel was jumping off a table or jumping off a chair, and they were afraid of her injuring herself. Which at the time, honestly, I sympathized because, you know how your child is. And of course, anything to keep her safe. I got called by the CPS agent the following week, which was a Monday there at February in 2022. Then he goes on to explain this was not a one-time occurrence. And as a matter of fact, he was reviewing video footage of the classroom because there's video and there's audio. And he was able to go back to the beginning of the school year and observe a few of the children being restrained. He went back into the video and explained that they were being restrained on multiple occasions. And we even got a chance to view the actual restraint. One of them was a restraint. It looked like a Velcro restraint. My husband, who's a firefighter, says that they use that for EMS patients who were combative. The other restraint we got to view was a man's waist belt with a metal adjustable, a clip. So you kind of slide it in and slide it out. But once you slide it in and click it in, it was very difficult for a child, to remove. I don't know specifically which restraint was used on my daughter. I'm pretty sure both of them is what I was understood to have happened. They would sit her in the chair, wrap the belt around her waist, and in the middle of the chair, there's a small square, and they would fish it through and restrain her to the chair. Now, in the first view that we saw in a video of her being restrained, she was not jumping off of the chair. She was not jumping off of the table. She was in no way in danger to herself, to anybody else in that classroom. She just did not want to sit down. When the investigator told us the whole story and that it happened on multiple occasions, he asked us specifically if Isabel was verbal. And we said, not really, she's limited. That's when he informed us that the children who were being restrained in the classroom, and now we know in the cafeteria, the children that they chose to restrain were all children who were nonverbal. So they couldn't explain what was happening to them, how long they were there, if they were hungry, if they were thirsty, if they had to go to the restroom. My child was restrained in a chair without any way of communicating that she was uncomfortable. She was not able to tell anybody, another teacher, another adult, us, my husband and myself. She was not able to communicate. There was video of my child being restrained. And you can see in the video how uncomfortable they are, how they were not restrained for their own protection. They were restrained at the convenience for the teacher and the teacher assistants. They did not want to deal with the child, with the children, found it easier to just use the restraint, made sure, not to leave any marks. My daughter has since been moved to a completely new district, new teacher. The environment in itself has played a tremendous role in how she is now. She's very outgoing. My child wakes up ready for school every single morning, ready to go to school, when last year that was not the case. I almost had to drag her out every morning because she knew what was coming. I hold a lot of guilt because I feel like I failed my child. I did not understand what was going on because she could not speak to me. Being as heartbroken as a family as we are, we're pleading to anybody who can make a difference, someone in a position who can make a difference, to make a change, to do something about this.